morning. It is 6:34, and I'd like to call the July 2021 regular board meeting of the Niles-Maine District Library Board to order. Margaret, would you please take the roll?
Trustee Derblick,
Here.
trustee Olivia Honushak.
Here.
Trustee Schoenfeld,
Here.
trustee Makula,
Here.
trustee Rozensky, trustee Olson,
Here.
and trustee Kean Adams.
Here. Thank you. Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item on our agenda is public comments. Is it Cindy tonight, or is it?
Margaret is going to read the names.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Okay. The first person is George. Our first person is the mayor, George. Okay, how do you say it, George? L. Pogians? Janos. Close.
The Greeks don't make anything easy on anybody. Folks, if I may, I'm going to start out by addressing you. My name is George Alpajanis. I think just about everyone in the room. I am talking to you as the mayor of the village of Niles. I know that myself and the board do not have any authority over anybody in this taxing district here, the Niles Public Library. But it still says the Niles-Maine Public Library in front of it. We are a community here. The community is always supposed to strive to stick together and to help each other out. Over the last few days, I had a lot of meetings with a lot of people, and there's a lot of people here in our village that feel that walls are being built. There were a few promises I made when I ran for the village of Niles. I promised that I would take care of the children. I promised that I would take care of the senior community and our veterans. Right now, from what we're hearing and from what I'm being told, and I've gotten from both sides, I've talked to people on both ends of it. And by the way, there are 3 people up here, 3 trustees that I left messages to that did not call me back. And I'm sorry about Carolyn, I left you a voicemail too, so don't say no, you didn't. The 663 number, whatever the number is, I left you one. So don't say no. And I know that you were called by the village clerk as well, and you didn't call her back. I don't want to go there. This isn't going to.
I called your secretary because I was trying to reach you.
Yeah, well, I called you from my personal cell phone yesterday. I'm not going to get into the match of who's. This isn't about who's right or wrong. It's about us.
I would love a conversation with you. I'm glad you reached out to me.
Yes. Okay. The bottom line is that this isn't about who's right or wrong. It's about what's right for the village. I understand cuts. I understand budgets. I was chairman of the finance committee for 3 years. I understand what's necessary. I also know what's necessary is a 6 to 7 month process putting into the budget. On this end over here, I spoke to Becky and she spoke to Patty and to Diane. And I asked them if they would stop this budget today for a couple of weeks, if they feel willing to stop, sit down, and let's try and find a good compromise amongst everybody. And they said they were more than willing to do that. And that's what this is about, compromise. I spoke to Mr. Makula yesterday. He was the one of the 4 that did answer his phone. I spoke to Joe twice and asked him to consider that, knowing that Becky and Patty and Diane would say, okay, to compromise. Joe said he didn't want to do it, just so you know. All right. I don't know that's the way we get things in government. Our government right now in the United States is so divided over their own beliefs that there's no middle of the road anymore. I'm a middle of the road guy. I'm not taking anyone's side. I don't want to be on anyone's side. I want to do what's right for our citizens. The Board of Trustees do. This has gone so far that I'm getting calls from state senators. I'm getting calls from state representatives. I've gotten a call from the Secretary of State's office, who is the head librarian of the state of Illinois. And they're saying, George, bring these people together and get them to do something. So I'm asking you today, on behalf of all of our citizens, our children, our seniors, a lot of those seniors are veterans. We need to remember that. I'm asking you guys to delay the budget for a couple of weeks. I would be more than happy to sit with you and try and bring you guys together and come up with some good formal agreement that there may need to be cuts. I know there are. We know this. When COVID happened, things need to be cut. I agree. And what are we going to cut? And then what are we going to compromise and not cut? There's got to be a middle ground. I'm here to offer that help. That's all we need. You know, whether it's the park district, whether it's a library, whether it's the entire village, these are important things. And Mr. McCullough, I will bring up one thing that you did do. One of the Cook County judges that talked about your referendum said, Village of Niles, if it's havoc you want, havoc you got over one of your referendums. Don't bring that havoc into the village. Don't bring it into this library. I went to you, Joe. You were the point person for these people. And you don't want to sit down with the Village of Niles? I'm
George.
sorry, and I don't know if there's crosstalk.
George, this is the ethics board. The ethics board needs
It
to
has
be
nothing to do with
elected.
the ethics board.
not
And there
appointed
shouldn't
by
be
the mayor.
crosstalk during public comment.
Public comments about the budget, speak about the budget.
I am speaking.
No, it's not. That was yesterday, sir. That was yesterday.
Order, please.
And I am speaking about the budget. All right. It's not a personal attack. Chris, it's not a personal attack. Anyways, I'm asking all of you to take the time today to think about our citizens, think about our children, think about our senior community.
Right.
And just take 2 weeks. You've got till the end of September to pass this budget. Take 2 weeks to sit down and let's come to a room together. And have Mr. McCullough and have Becky, the two of them come and sit with me. That's all I'm asking. I'm asking to do what's right for the village. Carolyn, if you need to be there, you could be there. I'm sorry.
I would really appreciate having this conversation months ago, but yes, I'm willing to come. I'm waiting.
Folks, well, hold on, guys, on the same end, please. It's not nice when they blast out. You guys shouldn't be blasting out either. I'm a straight shooter. Anyone that knows me knows that's how I am. I don't want all the back and forth. It's not fair. It's not fair to our citizens. It's not fair to the library. It's not fair to the park district. It's not fair to the Village of Niles. That's all I'm asking. 2 weeks. Maybe we could help find you some money. There's plenty of people that want to give it to you.
George, can I read a quote you made about 2 months ago?
Yes.
It says, if you run it like a business, efficiently watch costs, yet continue to offer the same services, it's going to benefit all of our citizens. And I agree with you 100%. I think our budget will give us a chance. Give us a chance.
I asked for 2 weeks. I didn't say no.
I think our budget is fine. It's going to work. You don't know the details of it. You only know what people, the loudmouths in the village that don't want our budget passed, have some vested interest in not having it passed. These are the people that are making a lot of noise. They're the ones holding up the signs now. And they're the ones that have been screaming and hollering and coming to you and knocking on your door and going to your restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what you're hearing. You're not hearing the silent majority because they are silent.
Mr. McCullough,
Thank you.
and I
Thank
stand by that statement. I agree with you 1,000%.
I think we're on the same page here. We're going to keep this library open. It's going to be running more efficiently, and it's going to be running for the benefit of everybody.
Well, then, Joe, 2 weeks won't hurt the budget, will it? If it takes
Give us a chance.
if it takes 2 weeks to just put it off for 2 weeks, and you've got one side is
This is
saying,
going to be chaos for another 2 weeks or a month or whatever. We don't need that.
Joe, I think that I personally
Time.
believe
Sorry.
that's all right. Oh. I apologize. I do have to leave. I have a meeting in Glenview. I need to be in person, but thank you for letting me speak first.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
apologize to anyone else saying could be.
George, no offense. I just.
Kathy Toy.
Kathy Toy. What we learned at the Niles-Maine District Library 2021-2022 budget hearing. There is tremendous public support for the library. 43 people spoke last night for nearly 4 hours. Of the 43 speakers, only 6 people support the board's budget cuts and service reductions. Over 6 times that number of speakers do not support the library's budget. Carolyn Derblick, president, thinks we will be spending $500,000 in legal fees, and she is blaming it on the employees and the public. Carolyn, board president, is not taking any responsibility for the wrongdoing and misinformed actions which have led to the increased legal fees. In combination with the increase in consulting fees, the board plans on spending over $600,000 on administrative activities which do not result in servicing the community. Some suggestions: get rid of the CPA consulting contract, which adds zero value to the library. Find a new labor attorney that doesn't charge $3.50 an hour and lives near the Minnesota-Wisconsin border. Terminate the open-ended contract with Steve Yassel and hire the qualified person who submitted a proposal for less money and within a time frame. The way the board plans to pay for these additional administrative activities is to reduce services to the public they serve. The board's budget is absolutely outrageous, which would reduce the service to the community and increase the administrative burden by equal amounts. Any benefits to taxpayers is erased by the increased administrative fees. Politicians from local to national levels have lined up against this budget. State Senator Ram Villavelan and State Representative Lindsay LaPont came out to the rally yesterday and spoke to the crowd. Our board president, Carolyn Derblick, cannot be bothered to listen to the public she serves. During the hearing last night, she was even laughing at times between comments with her attorney. The only way to stop this absurd act of injustice is to recast the budget, to end the personnel cuts, to get rid of the unfair labor practices investigation and associated legal fees. Invest in the good stuff that makes the library better and the community stronger. Get out of the day-to-day business of running the library. Carolyn, are you listening?
Always.
Could I have your?
What you said is very important. So you need to realize I can, multitask.
No, I don't think any of us can really do
Oh,
that, but
absolutely. We've got to-
get out of the
Library staff.
day-to-day business of running the library and focus on long-term strategies. This one I'm going to read is from a very good family member. She couldn't be here tonight, and it's addressed to the whole board. There are many more qualified than I who have appealed to your sworn and elected civic duty to the Niles-Maine District Library, to your standing as members of this community, to your basic sense of logic and common sense, to stop the proposed budget cuts to our beloved library. Still, I cannot stay silent and would like to articulate my own in advance of this week's important board meetings. I have been a resident of Niles for 35 of my 38 years. I grew up in this neighborhood, participating in reading club programs and checking out books from the old children's library. I have watched it grow and expand, change shape and color to be the facility it is today. I know the librarians by name and they know mine. To say that I would be devastated to lose these precious people to our community or the incredible programs and resources I've been able to access, there would be an understatement. But today I am emailing you as a home educating mother of 3 on behalf of my children. What would you have me say to my boys when they ask why our library is closed? How would you like me to explain to them that the friendly faces they know and love at the library will no longer be helping them find their favorite books? What should?
So it's time.
Okay, thank you.
Meg Newman.
Hello. I'd like to read a few letters today. The first one is an open letter to the Niles-Maine District Library Board of Trustees from library supporters. It says, we are proud that the Niles-Maine District Library provides valuable services to our community. and we are dedicated to ensuring that those vital services continue. Unfortunately, the newly elected library board's recent actions appear to place those services in jeopardy. Proposing cuts to library hours, programs, and outreach services, including school library outreach, deliveries to nursing homes and other adult service and children's services, sharply increasing employees' portion of health insurance premiums, creating additional hardships for staff, a hiring freeze when staff levels have already fallen during the pandemic, and freezes on capital projects, including the new roof for the library, hiring a videographer with political ties to board members and no experience auditing libraries as a consultant at the rate of $100 per hour with no cap. Additionally, we understand that a majority of NMDL employees are seeking union representation through Council 31. We support these employees' rights to have a voice at work and urge the library board to respect their decision, not waste further resources, including the $500,000 additional to the budget, by delaying or interfering with this process. Our library is the heart of our community. We call on you to stop these unnecessary cuts to vital services, respect library workers, and fund our library. This was signed by the U.S. Representative of the 9th District, State Senator of the 10th District, State Senator of the 8th District, State Representative of the 55th District, State Representative of the 19th District, Cook County Commissioner, Metropolitan Water Reclamation District Commissioner, President of Niles School Board District 71, the Niles Coalition, the President of the Chicago Federation of Labor, the Superintendent of Niles School District 71, Executive Director Arise Chicago, the Jewish Labor Committee, the President of the Union Local 2953 for Village of Niles, the Vice President of the Union Local 2953 of Niles, the President of the Union Local 3891 of Des Plaines, and an Executive Board Member of the Union Local 3891 of Des Plaines.
No, thank you. I have it already.
Also, next I would like to read you the petition that received over 1,500 signatures. We are supporters of the Niles-Maine District Library and the valuable services to the community it provides. We are writing to express our strong opposition to the severe cuts proposed by the newly elected library board, including cuts to the library hours, programs, outreach services, including school outreach and librarian visits, which will place the cost and burden of transportation onto schools, slashing 11% of the overall budget, including more than $550,000 in cuts to staff that will affect the lowest paid employees the most, while increasing the salary budget for managers. Additional freezes on spending and capital projects, including the much needed roof repair, devaluing library professionals by cutting from professional development and cutting dues for the American Library Association. Minor savings, which will have a major impact to employees. Sharply increasing employees' portion of health insurance premiums, creating additional hardship for staff, increasing the budget drastically for attorney fees and consultants instead of listening to the employees. Additionally, we understand that a majority of Niles-Maine District Library employees are seeking union representation through the Union Council 31. We support these employees' rights to have a voice at work and urge the library board to respect their decision not to waste further resources by delaying or interfering with this process and to drop these frivolous objections to the union. Our library is the heart of our community. We call on you to stop unnecessary cuts to vital services, respect library workers, and fund our library. This is the list of signatures.
I don't have that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And lastly, I would like to read a letter from the librarians of Niles Township District 219. This is Bev Zbidin and Sherry Jobert. They're head librarians of the Niles North and Niles West High School schools. Over the last decade, D219 libraries and the Niles-Maine District Library have cultivated a relationship that has significantly benefited the students. I'll leave it here so that you can read the rest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Szczepański.
Good evening, pronounced correctly. Thank you. Jerry Szczepański, 45-year resident of Niles. I'm a veteran. I'm a senior. I'm a member of St. John Rebuff Parish. I listened to many videos over the years of the Niles Library Board meetings. Last night's really disappointed me when an individual stood up and had the audacity to say he was speaking for St. John Rebuff. I think the people who are residents and members of St. John Rebuff need an apology from that individual. We have a new pastor, not here a month. I've called previous women's club presidents, and I've talked to a couple deacons. The church has no stand on what's happening here at the library. And I would wish some of the old board members would speak to that and say, your crowd did wrong last night. They really did. There was no call for that, speaking for the church. And I would do the same for you. Honestly, I would. Okay, further on. Last night was mentioned about the American Library Association motto. I looked it up. Nobody here last night was able to say what it's about. Well, what it is basically saying, get the most people reading for the least possible cost. For the least possible cost. That means running it efficiency with all the stuff you don't need. That's what it means. This is the American Library Association. That means, in my mind, there has to be a discussion in the future if this is a library or a community center. It's a valid discussion. Don't think it's bad or good. It's a valid discussion. Should there be yoga in a library? I don't think so. Should there be computer training? That's for schools and private business. 3D printing. How many people really use that 3D printer? Okay, okay. Now, right here, I'd like to interrupt what's happened all last night. And thank you, police, for being here. The president of the board asked last night to please hold comments back. The audience is interrupting with applause, asking questions, booing, hissing. Give us all a chance to speak. We'll give you a chance to speak. Please. Okay, the St. John Rebuff Women's Club has promised me that none of this there's been no bad comments about Mrs. Derblick or anybody else. It's the social media that's been passing all this junk along. Okay, over the past decade, I've asked many times for a report from the previous director, Mrs. Lemke, and the trustees. Give me a list of all the programs, what dates they were run, how many people attended, and where they were from. It's been over 10 years. I haven't heard a thing. What are all these programs we're talking about? How many people attended? If I have 12 programs, each with one person attending, that's not a program. Come on, give that new board a chance to do something. They're trying to trim out the waste and keep the programs that work. We're not against libraries. We're against community centers and painting. You see what I mean? Now, if I was the president of the board right now and you have legal counsel, I would ask these gentlemen from who so nicely came and gave up their time to escort these people out of this room. Since the election, all we've heard is innuendo and opinion. You know what opinions are like. You heard the joke. We all have one. How many facts have been presented? Okay. Look up the libraries, and the great majority of them in our area are star libraries. They're all star libraries. The press is here tonight. I'm going to tell you how that article is going to be slanted. I've been reading all. I'm not going to mention the name. They're all for the library and doesn't give an entire good opinion on how these meetings were run, how this crowd has been interrupting, using social media to corrupt any knowledge. Okay, you want to look up some other information. Since the election, the new board hasn't been given a chance to really explore and work with other members. Thank you for your time. Please, people of the audience, be patient, be adults.
Lisa Emmett.
Hi, I've been a resident for 54 years in this village. I received a phone call from a cousin in Mount Prospect, laughing. What are you calling me for? Yeah, you know I live here. Okay, who is Block? Is this part of, this is a person that works for this library, my understanding. Block Electric, Milwaukee and Tui. This woman put on a Mount Prospect site with thousands of people that Steve Yassell, I'm not friends with Steve Yassell, so let's get that clear, has known ties to white supremacy. I decided to come to a meeting a couple weeks back, yellow dress, you remember. Okay, took the microphone when I wasn't supposed to. I apologize on behalf of myself to all of you. I was disturbed, disgusted. I could not believe the level of disrespect to you, and you, from you. It was the most insane thing I've ever witnessed in my life. I said it was a shit show, and I meant it was a shit show. I apologize. Strike that. So that's one thing. She needs to go. If we need to have a little petition sign like that, you want 5,000 signatures, I'll get you 5,000 signatures. 1,500 signatures are good enough. We'll get 5,000 signatures because there's a lot of people representing my feelings that aren't sitting here today because of that. Clap, 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 clap. The most disrespectful thing I've ever seen or heard in my life at a library meeting, period. Number two, Bart McGuinn. Are you in the audience, Bart? Because Bart McGuinn spoke for St. John Breboff. Joe, you know what? I'll play the video right here. He said to the board members, you should step away and step back from St. John Breboff. That was a public comment. I've been going to St. John Breboff since 1964. I took that as a personal insult to me and anybody else sitting in this room that attends St. John Breboff. I'm just letting you know right here, right now, St. John Breboff wants nothing to do with any of this. Didn't even know who Bart McGuinn was. And I had 6 phone calls back and forth in the last week from St. John Breboff. So they can't make any public comments. They don't want to make any public comments. And Bart McGuinn had absolutely no right to, number one, write that's his little, the man that wrote in the, with his anonymous newsletter or whatever in the whatever, Niles Journal, and then made his little comments over here. That was the most disrespectful thing for anyone making a public comment to any board member. We're all welcome at our church. I told what I heard, and that's what I heard.
Excuse me, no offers from the audience and just the director.
Okay.
You can ignore them.
Okay, I am ignoring it. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. Yeah, at least I'm like being able to speak today. But I just want to say on behalf of a whole lot of village members, we're really sorry and embarrassed at what you have to deal with here. You got your point across, but you also embarrassed yourself in the process. I don't know how many of you realize how much you quite embarrassed yourself. You could laugh behind your mask. Go ahead, sweetheart. It doesn't make a difference to me. It doesn't matter. Okay. Well, when you see her, you just want to, but in any event, I just wish you all the best. I wish you never a threat, honey. I wish you all the best. You're a new board. Let's see what you do. Okay. If you do something that, the people don't agree with, we're going to let you know. They're going to let you know. We're all going to let you know. This is our village. This is our library. We respect all of you. I don't know any of you personally, but I wish you all well. And I hope you can work together for us, for the village, for the children, for the elders, for the veterans, for the residents of Niles. So I wish you all well as a new board. Good luck. God bless. I'm really sorry that you have to go through the disrespect that you do. I apologize. Thank you.
So there's 1 minute left in the 30 minutes.
Okay.
So we can have one more speaker.
1
Jeanette,
minute or? Yes, I was. someone-
Jeanette Lee.
Get some of the time back where you talked with George. That was like a whole conversation and it was more than the. 5
Actually,
minutes.
there's only 1 minute left in public comments. Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Jeanette Lee. My pronouns are she and her. There is no denying that last night was a powerful example of democracy in action. When elected officials deceive the voters during their campaign, their supporters feel betrayed. Your true colors are coming through loud and clear. When you didn't denounce your supporters who heckled a brave teenager when she announced her pronouns at the beginning of their speech last night. Carolyn, you sat on that stage, you didn't even blink or move a muscle to touch your gavel. You didn't bother to say a word. You, the president of this board and a member of the Niles Community Relations Commission, is that who you are? You don't stand up to your supporters when they heckle teenagers. It's not too late to change the situation. It is absolutely your right to change your mind. It is actually quite respectable to say that you've heard what the community, the taxpayers are saying, and you've realized the need for compromise and change.
For public comments, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes of the June 16th meeting.
I have a problem with the minutes.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll call the trustees individually to speak. Trustee Makula, do you have any comments?
No, I
Oh,
approve the
no,
minutes.
I'm sorry, you need to take the roll, right? Oh, no, it's not a vote, right?
don't
No, My
have-
mistake. Do you have any comments?
Do we
No.
have a second?
Oh, wait a minute, wait.
didn't have a second. Exactly.
I'm not sure. One of the other ones seconded it. I think Susan. She needs to speak into her microphone.
I'm sorry, Carolyn. Trustee Makula motioned,
Yes.
but we don't have a second, do we?
Second?
Did you? Okay, because we couldn't hear you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Trustee Makula, any comments?
No,
Trustee Schoenfeld? Nothing. Trustee Anushik? No. Trustee Rosansky?
Yes. But my comments, I know, are also with my people. My concern here is I know we are supposed to pass the minutes in a timely manner. This is the only meeting we're passing the minutes for. So I would like to ask the attorney, how much time do we have to pass the minutes for all the other meetings we've had these past 3 months? I don't want to be illegal by not passing them in time.
The Open Meetings Act requires that minutes of meetings that are open to the public be approved within 30 days of the board meeting or the second subsequent meeting, whichever is later.
Some of them have been passed that. Can we still do it without having any issues as long as they're passed?
I think you should still approve the minutes, yes.
Well, I'm not saying these because I have no problem with these, but I'm saying the other ones that we have
I
not
think you
yet
still need
approved.
to approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is it all trustee Rosansky?
Yes.
Okay, trustee Olson,
Not at this time.
trustee Keen Adams,
Yes, I'm just wondering what has happened to the minutes from the other meetings of May 24th, June 1st, June 2nd, June 3rd, June 14th, June 16th, and June 30th. We seem to have not. Are they falling through the cracks? I'm not sure why that's happening. Is there any reason for that?
would you like to ask the staff?
Well, there's usually an agenda item, so I don't know who put the agenda together, but I would assume that person would know the answer to that question.
Are you asking for minutes to?
All the meeting minutes from those meetings that are supposed to be
Okay,
approved before today.
minutes are handled through our staff, library staff, so you may want to ask them the status and that they can explain that.
Okay.
I'm just offering it, or maybe we can have this
I
discussion
think-
later. She can send you an email.
Well, no, I think it's relevant right now
Okay, then
because
please ask her.
I don't really think it's their responsibility. I think that it might be yours.
Well, I'm sorry, it's not my responsibility is not the dictation of minutes.
Can we please ask the attorney whose responsibility is to put it on the agenda so we can pass them in a timely manner?
The minutes are usually prepared by either the secretary or a recording secretary, which is a staff member. And they're presented to the board for review and approval or amendment. Right now, the only minutes that are before the board for consideration and discussion really is the June 30th minutes.
So if we don't have those minutes available to us tonight to vote on, then we are going to be in violation of open meeting acts. And this has slipped through the cracks. I mean, I don't think we're having anything that we need to hide, so I can't imagine why we don't have them yet.
It's very likely they would have all been passed. It's just we haven't had the opportunity.
So you want me to update? I can
Did you wanna
update
give
on
a
the
response?
minutes. Okay, so the minutes from the 25th of May were tabled.
Right?
The minutes from the workshops, is that what's next? 1,
Yes.
2, and 3? Okay, the minutes from June 1, 2, and 3 were finished. And so that's June, so this is July, so they'd be, 2 months would be on the August.
Well, but did
Um,
we have, it's 30 days from the meeting and then or 2 subsequent meetings. And we had a regular meeting on the 16th and today is our second regular meeting.
Yes, Susan didn't want them on the agenda for the 16th. I can't speak to that. So now they can go on the agenda for today. Okay, well, they're not on. they're not on
Right,
the
so that's
agenda for
putting
today.
us in jeopardy. Why? Can you speak to that, Mrs. Schoenfeld?
Mrs. Schoenfeld is not the secretary of the minutes. The minutes are handled through the administrative assistant.
Okay, and then what is the meeting after that? The 14th and the 16th?
Um,
Yeah, those were long
Yes,
meetings
14,
close
16, 30.
together. So those minutes were just drafted, I think the week before last maybe, and I haven't had a chance to review them.
Okay, but then how did we end up with the meetings, or I'm sorry, the minutes from the last meeting instead of the previous meetings?
Not sure.
Okay, so my understanding was that the agenda is being crafted together. And that, you know, that's something that we could be getting in trouble for. And as the board, we're gonna all get in trouble for it, not just 1 or 2 people. So I,
Yeah,
I'm not
blaming
okay with that.
anybody. I'm just asking that we please rectify the situation as soon as possible so that the library doesn't get more on their back.
So Cindy, I guess the request is in the August, for the August agenda, whatever minutes you can provide that are completed, we'll just approve them at that time.
Okay.
All right, was that satisfy everyone?
I think the request
And
is
the
also as
reason-
president to please make sure that we are complying with all of those things.
Well, I believe Cindy has an explanation for each of the meetings, which I'll review it. And if there's a problem, I'll let you know.
Good.
And then secondly, the reason the June 30th meeting minutes are here probably is because everyone walked out, or at least the 3 of you walked out and they're real short. So that was easy for them.
Right, but it
So we
still
do
needs
have
to be
those.
chronological.
Okay? Well, you know what? Why not provide them if they're ready? So are we ready
Okay,
to vote on these minutes?
can you clarify something for me, please? I thought in the past, I've heard you say that all meeting minutes have to go through you after Cindy finishes them.
I never
Oh,
said
no.
that.
Okay, so now she can just
I
do
ne-
them
I never
herself,
said
and
that.
then we can add to them by contacting Cindy without going through.
I'm
you?
not
No,
sure what
she's
your
talking
question
about
is.
the minutes from the previous meeting.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
Okay,
just
okay,
clarifying
let
that.
me just clarify the position and we need to move on because this is really
Yeah, okay,
an
I'll-
unbelievable topic. Minutes
Okay.
are transcribed by the secretary. When they're transcribed, when they're completed, they are given to us as part of the agenda for approval. We all will see them at the same time. And we'll continue the practice that we've had in the past going forward, which is what we're doing now. So are we ready to take a vote on the minutes for June 30th, which are on the agenda?
I move to take a vote on the minutes.
There-
Second.
Okay, I think we're ready. We just need a roll call. Thank you.
Trustee Durbalik,
Yes.
trustee Hanushek,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
trustee Makula,
Yes.
trustee Rozansky,
Yes.
trustee Olson,
No.
trustee Keen Adams.
No.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the payment of bills. Do I have a motion to approve operating expenses of $253,058.57, payroll expenses of $298,913.17, special reserve expenses of $11,980.94 for a total monthly approval of $558,952.68.
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions? I will call the trustees individually. Trustee Makula.
I reviewed all the checks and everything's in order. I believe it's
Trustee,
correct.
okay, thank you. Trustee Schoenfeld. Trustee Anushek.
No.
Trustee Rozansky.
I'm going to leave my statement so that trustee Keen Adams can make her statement.
Trustee Olson.
Yes, I'd like to hear Ms. Adams.
So you do not have a statement? Is that what you're saying?
Not at this time.
Trustee Keen Adams.
Yes, so my question is in regards to the bill for Heinzelman Law. I have a couple of questions about it. I know that the amount for the bill is $13,833, but what isn't included is what that is for exactly, like what amount of time and what was done in that time. And I think that, especially in light of the way the public has expressed their opinions of our hiring them, we need to be a little bit more transparent with them so that they can see where their tax dollars are going.
Do you want me to answer that
I'm
question?
in a minute, please. It's not out of question to think that they might want a bit of insight into that. So we need to justify to them what the money is being spent on. So in an effort to do that, I did email Ms. Heinzelman myself and request her to send me a detailed invoice. And what she responded to me was, I assume this is a request for a copy of legal bills under the Freedom of Information Act, as it is not general practice for individual board members other than the president of the board to communicate or work directly with outside counsel. I was very surprised, to say the least, that she was not willing to give me that information. So I did respond and say, the board is your client and I am part of the board, so please let me have that information. And her following response was, there are designated board officers who have certain responsibilities to act on behalf of the board as set forth in the bylaws. With respect to your request, it is not my practice to provide legal invoices to individual trustees. I did ask her also to provide me with that information, to show me that. And she has not responded to me any further. I looked through the bylaws myself and I did not find anything like that at all. So I have, questions about, I was able to procure the invoice myself in another way, by the way. And so what I did find out, having to get it myself, was, it looked pretty normal at first. But when I went through it a little more carefully, I noticed that the bill is only for 21 days. It's not for a full month. It was June 9th to June 30th. So one thing that comes to mind then is what's going to be the bill, for an entire month of July. It's going to be even higher than it was for June. And so how are we going to, I know that you are trying to increase the budget for the appropriation to $500,000 for legal fees. I'd like to know how you came to that number and what are we allotting each month, or how is that working? Instead of just telling us we're going to do that. We need to
It was
be,
a recommendation.
okay, well, we don't,
Okay, are you, if you're finished?
I'm not
answer
finished.
questions. Okay,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
But that is something that's important
You
to
know,
be
would you
discussing
prefer-
as
you
a
know what,
board.
I'm not gonna remember 10 questions. Why don't I start to address all of these and then you can finish with the rest? Regarding your request for information
Mhm.
regarding the invoice. So you have an invoice, but you didn't get an invoice. Is that
I
what
got an
you're saying?
invoice, but not from her.
Okay, so you have the invoice
Mhm.
for her fees. So is that not sufficient?
No, because she would not, she refused to provide me with that, and she also gave me false information or not, she didn't provide me with the information I requested.
Okay, I think.
She's not disclosing information to her client.
Well, I think that if you got a copy of that invoice, then the client, which is the library, has that information. So is it now in your possession?
Yes, it is in my possession.
Okay.
That's
And I
not the
believe
point.
going forward,
No,
your request for information will be available.
that's not the point. The point is that she refused her client
Because,
information.
because there are certain attorney-client privileges.
Where?
You know what? I'm not an attorney and I don't want to spend the whole night on this subject, but let's move
I
to
have
the
a
other
question.
questions. You're in
Yeah.
disagreement with her.
No.
Sorry, Ms. Rosansky, I'm
Fine.
still
Go
talking to her.
ahead. Go ahead.
Well, if you need to have a further conversation with the attorney, we'll definitely arrange that. Your next question was, what can I
Yep.
ask you again?
I'm not sure if it's a question yet, just some other observations.
Well, I just need to make sure we can move this along and I don't want to miss
This
anything.
is an important topic, so
I
I
know,
think we
let's
have
go.
time
Ask
for
me
it.
the questions. I'll answer you. We're not just sitting here. I need to know what you need so I can address
I'm
it.
trying, Carolyn, but you're doing all the talking at
Thank
the
you.
moment. Another thing I noticed is that there are two people being paid. It's Yvette Heinzelman and Lisa Calloway, and the bill for Ms. Calloway is extremely vague. It's just a number. Actually is $8,368 that she's getting out of that. So she's getting more of the money than Yvette Heinzelman, which is fine. So it seems like she's doing most of the work and that's okay, except that it is not transparent. It's deceptive.
Okay.
I
as
didn't
far
even
as-
know that.
As far as the attorneys, Yvette Heinzelman and Lisa Calloway, they are attorneys, they are labor attorneys, and all of the details regarding what they're working on is not disclosable to everybody and anybody.
But I'm
We're
not
in the
anybody
middle-
and everybody.
Yes, we're in the middle of litigation and that information is not easily available, and any attorney will tell you that.
Okay, and on the invoice, it lists the fee, that number that I just quoted for Lisa Calloway, and it only states legal services, Lisa Calloway, quantity 1, rate $8,368. One what?
You can request further details.
When? We want to pay this bill? I don't want to pay this bill. I don't know what it's for.
Then just don't approve the bill, but you can ask for the attorney's breakdown.
Okay, so the money is going straight out of our doors into other people's hands when it should be staying in the building, providing staff to be here 70 hours for the programming that our patrons are requesting. Not only do I refuse payment of this bill, I move to unemploy Heinzelman Law for the following grounds. 1, we can find more valuable counsel if deemed necessary by a board discussion and bid process. Number 2, refusal of the firm to disclose information to their client. And 3, incorrect legal information, or at the very least, refusal to give proper documentation given by Ms. Heinzelman to the board on our bylaws. Do I have a second?
Second, oh, third, fourth, first. I know. She seconded me. before.
Okay, I don't think you can make a motion
When
to,
there is a motion.
you can't make a motion about a
There's a
topic,
there's a pending motion right
which
now.
is the payment of bills. So we need to vote on that. If we're finished with our questions, let's vote on that. That is that's the question before the board. All right, will you please take the roll?
So who motioned it and who second?
Over there.
Susan? Oh, that's the first one. Okay. Okay. So we're good. Trustee Derblick,
No.
trustee Hanushek,
For the payment of bills or?
What are we voting on exactly?
Oh, yes,
That's what I was-
yes, my mistake.
Okay. That's what I was
That's a
asking. Okay,
That's the
so
first time she's ever voted to
trustee
pay the bills.
Derblick, that's a yes. Trustee Hanushek,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
trustee Makula,
Yes,
trustee Rozansky,
I'm going to take our president's normal lead and say no.
trustee Olson,
No.
trustee Keen Adams.
No.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is trustee reports. The first one would be the president's report. I would just like to take the time to thank our staff for producing an incredible public hearing yesterday. They accommodated an overflow. They had a television for everyone to be able to watch this, the public hearing that was happening in this room, and they accommodated 80 to 90 chairs in here. I know it took a lot of planning, and then our staff was even here throughout the night, assisting everyone that was here. So I want to thank you for allowing everyone to be a participant and to be able to be here to give their public comments. And I realize public comments is there are two sides to every situation. I'm more upset to hear that a lot of the discussions we've had in our workshops, the facts and the details have been inaccurately represented both on Facebook and the media. And then, of course, our residents and all of our attendees have nothing to go on but what they're reading in the paper and seeing. And so it has caused a lot of alarm and a lot of anxiety. And all I can say is moving forward, you will see that a lot of the statements you've read in the paper or you've seen on Facebook are totally wrong. We're not cutting this, we're not cutting that. Unfortunately, it's just making really good media reading, and that's where we are. So that's all I have for today, but I want to thank you again. Our staff is incredible for a job well done. Next is trustees. Trustee McCullough, did you have anything you wanted?
No comments.
Trustee Schoenfeld. Trustee Nuschek.
No. Yes,
Trustee Rosansky.
I was here for the wall art that they did out in the parking lot. It was great. The kids were so enthusiastic. The librarian who ran it was fantastic. She had a book a children's book. I wish I remembered the name, but I don't, where this author does wall art type things in the book. And so some of these kids were getting into it so much and trying to copy the pages. It was a blast and it was beautiful. I also did the workshop where you do flowers out of old books. Great. That was a Zoom meeting. Perfect. I also did the still life painting, and so did someone else. We were there, and it was actually live in this room. There were 20, catch that. We did have a workshop with 20 people registered and showed up. It was a lot of fun. And it was great, just being able to see people in person and talk and just have a good time. Nitwits has been doing great. We are starting now within library meetings as well as combining them with Zoom. We're having a few rough edges. We're working on it. Hopefully it'll be something that other programs will be able to pick up on shortly. The parade, oh my gosh, was so much fun. And the reaction from the residents was just phenomenal. I want to thank everybody who showed up to the parade and thank all of the workers who were there. Thank you.
Trustee Olson.
Yes, just to counteract what you just said, I want to thank the staff and all the residents who were here yesterday for speaking up, and you did tell the truth. There were no lies yesterday. Thank you for all your accurate information. I also want to thank, on a lighter note, the marketing department, because the parade was, just like Patty said, it was wonderful. Really spoke to what we are all about. So thank you.
Trustee Keenan.
I'd like to thank the staff as well. I know you guys have been working extremely hard and have been very stressed out, and it's not a lot of fun to come to work right now. And I appreciate that you're still here. And I would like to thank everyone that came out last night. Is that better? Thank you. I was thanking the staff. Yep. And I wanted to also thank everyone that came out last night. I really do have open ears to hear everyone. And I think we all need to do that. And I appreciate everyone that came last night and everyone that is here last night. And it was really amazing to see the community come together in that way. And I also do want to make sure that everyone feels welcome here. This is a safe place It is a place where all are welcome, no matter what your color, your hair, your gender identity does not matter. You are welcome here. That's it. Yes, she is.
Excuse me, please. All right, the next on our agenda is the treasurer's report. Trustee Makula.
Yes. June is the final month of the 21-22 budget year. Revenue for the month was $18,080, which is 90, it's 96% of the amount budgeted this year. It indicates there was a 4% shortfall. Salaries this month were $298,067, bringing the year's total to $3,359,988, which is $210,666, or 7% over the budget of $3,149,322 for the 21-22 budget year. Materials purchased this month were $43,030. The yearly total is $693,556, which is $18,818 less than the budgeted amount. Operating expenses this month are $8,512, resulting in a final total for the year of $251,783, which is $175,364 less than the budgeted amount because of the shutdown and reduced programming because of COVID. General and administrative expenses were $33,000 this month, $33,683 for June, bringing the yearly total to $225,785, which is 90% of the budgeted amount of $249,343. Employee fringe benefits, which is retirement, healthcare, dental, vision, etc., this month was $62,798, bringing the year's expense to $758,577, which is $44,643 over budget, which is 6%. Utilities this month were $7,713, closing out the year at $88,688, $15,062 below the amount budgeted because of the partial closure and reduced hours. Capital expenditures of $11,918 this month brings the year's total to $130,176, which is only 8% of the budgeted amount because the roof project was not carried out and budgeted for that year. Building materials for June were $6,390. Building maintenance, not materials. Maintenance for June was $6,390. For the 21-22 fiscal year, it was $134,105, and it was $90,065 less than the budget amount, mostly because the library was partially closed. For the 21-22 fiscal year, total expenditures were $5,961,768, $562,633 was budgeted, which is a difference of $1,600,865. Some of the difference is the roof project and several smaller capital expenditures that did not occur. Also, salaries and employee benefits were higher by $255,300 over the budget, as the library paid all salaries and benefits and incurred additional expenses due to the COVID shutdown.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, the Assistant Director's Report. Are there any comments at this time? I will call on trustees to speak individually. Trustee Makula.
Carolyn, could I just make a comment?
Sure.
Well, I just wanted to clarify for the bill that you got for the Attorney Heiselman. So the specific detail regarding Lisa is available. It is attached to the check. So if you didn't get that when I sent the rest of it, I apologize, but it is available.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so I can send that to you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, trustee Makula, any comments on the assistant director's report?
No.
Trustee Schoenfeld,
No.
trustee Anushik,
No.
trustee Rosansky,
Thank you, Cindy. It was a very nice report.
Thank you.
Trust-
I compiled it from the staff. You always do a great job.
trustee Olson,
Yes, it's great. It took me a half an hour to read it. It's so lengthy and it gave us insight, gave me insight into all the different departments and exactly what they're up to all day. They don't sit around, they work very hard. Thank you for all the interjections of little items that take a long time. Thank you.
trustee Keen Adams,
Yeah, I just want to point out that there is actually, and this is available online, right? So there was a gentleman here that wanted to know about programming, and this is not by any means a complete list of what's gone on over the year, but it is for the last month, I understand, of the programs that were available and how many people attended them. So it's there for you. And also, I just really like this report too. I appreciate you putting all the patron comments in there. That was very helpful. And even though it is kind of chunky and it takes a bit of time to read, it takes a lot longer to compile, and I appreciate that. And I hope that everyone reads all through it. It's a lot to read, but it's worthwhile. I was kind of sorry to read this bit about the creative studio. Since we can't staff the space, we are going to move to an appointment system for the space starting in August. That's very frustrating. I wish we could have the staff, that we could staff it properly so people don't have to make an appointment, myself included. I have started using that service. And that is it. Thank you very much.
okay, next on the agenda, communications. Are there any comments? Trustee Makula,
No.
trustee Schoenfeld,
No.
trustee Anushik,
No.
trustee Rosansky,
No, just the fact that I did enjoy reading what was in the newsletter or what agenda again, the comments from the public. Thank you.
trustee Olson,
No, nothing.
trustee Keen Adams,
No comments on what's in there, but I did have Margaret print out the ones that were sent from Embark, just in case you guys didn't have a chance to look at it. I'll pass this down and I'll let everyone else know what it is. Just it was from Embark, and it says it's regarding the proposed elimination of the Niles Library Outreach Book Delivery Program to our facility. And it has several letters from residents there, and it also has a petition with quite a few names on it. So I just wanted to make sure everyone had access to it.
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Next on the agenda, new business. Do I have a motion?
I have a motion to table this till next month, like the mayor suggested.
I second that motion.
Could you call the roll, please?
Trustee Derblick,
No,
trustee Hanushek,
No.
trustee Schoenfeld,
No.
trustee Makula,
No.
trustee
Yes.
Rosansky, trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Keen
I
Adams.
cannot believe that you guys are going to not listen to all the legislators and the mayor of this town, and you're going to pummel this through against everyone's.
Hundreds of residents.
150 people came out last night to the park to speak against this. The mayor is here and you lied to his face. How can you do that? This needs to be put on hold. It is not okay. Rails is here tonight too. People are watching and you don't care.
okay. There's no debate. Move to adopt ordinance.
I vote no, absolutely not.
Excuse me.
I did not vote yet. That is my vote. It is no, and I am enraged at what you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Olivia, especially you.
Okay, do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2103, providing for the budget and
No
appropriation
comments,
of the
please.
Niles-Maine District Library, Cook County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021, and ending June 20, 2022?
I second.
I need to move it.
I moved.
Second.
Okay,
I'd like to make a friendly amendment. I move to make a friendly amendment. Before I make the amendment, I'd like to state, I do not believe in reducing the current staff. I do not believe in reducing the library hours that were available to the community before COVID. I make a motion to amend ordinance 2103, providing for budget and appropriation of the Niles-Maine District Library, Cook County, Illinois, for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021, and ending June 30th, 2022. I move that there will be no reduction to current staff and that the library's hours will be the same as they were prior to COVID. Current positions will not be filled due to attrition or retirement for this budget year.
I second.
Unfortunately, I don't know if that, Mr. Attorney, if that's legal since a motion was already put into motion. To have a second motion put in.
You
during
can
the-
have, there's a main motion pending and there's a now a subsidiary motion that is attempted to amend the main motion.
So we have to vote on the main motion
You have to
first
vote on
and
the
then on
amendment. You have to
the
vote on
other
the-
motion.
You vote on the amendment first. If the amendment passes, then the main motion is amended as it passed. If it fails, the main motion is the original motion.
So the main motion would be Olivia's motion.
No, that's.
I
that's
mean,
motion amendment.
no, you said okay, I know the main motion was Joe's motion, but you said we have to vote on Olivia's motion
Correct.
first. Okay, thank you. That's what I thought you meant. Thank you for clarifying it.
She needs a second.
Do you need a second?
Becky seconded.
Becky seconded.
So we're voting on,
What are we,
On her amendment.
exactly what are we voting on?
we're voting on the amendment.
okay, please take the roll.
And this is on the
Debate.
original.
No,
No,
this
it's
is
on the
amendment.
So You can have comments on the amendment.
Okay, any comments on the amendment, trustee McCullough?
I didn't hear exactly what the
Okay.
amendment was.
Could you please clarify or speak a little louder?
Hit the microphone, so I can't hear.
Okay, I move that there will be no reduction to current staff and that the library's hours will be the same as they were prior to COVID. Current positions will not be filled due to attrition or retirement for this budget year. That is what I'm trying to.
Thank you.
Did you hear?
I heard it.
Okay.
What are we voting on this or? Pardon? Are you asking for my vote or what?
How does it affect the budget? How do we know what the budget then will be? Have you evaluated this or looked into these numbers?
Well, I would leave it to Cindy and she can consult Greg for financial advice, but it would be giving back to the budget. So right now, based on current calculation with capital expense and everything, it's about a 20% budget cut. With this, it gives back about 6% operating budget. So with capital expenses included, that cut 14%. So it'd be giving back 6% of budget. And I'd leave that to Cindy and Greg to, yeah, they come up with the numbers.
So then,
Next meeting.
Or
me?
I think we can approve.
I'm just
the-
asking.
well,
so trustee Hanushek, you're saying that the increase that you're asking for salaries is 6%?
No, it's not for salaries. It's just. It gives
Because the
6% back to the budget. Cindy and Greg will be. I'd leave it up to them to do the numbers on that. So that there will be no reduction to current staff or library hours.
So then the item we're talking about is staffing. We're going to bring it back to
And library.
what hours? To what
This
number?
is the operating budget and then they're gonna work
Well,
it out.
they need to understand. So you're bringing the library staff salaries back to I
Well,
don't understand.
The fine math, I would leave to Cindy and Greg to allocate appropriately.
Right, I'm just
For
looking
the
for the
operating
statement, like, what are we asking Greg to reevaluate? Can I look at that? Maybe I'm not hearing what you're saying about staffing. Okay,
Olivia, can I ask you a
Um,
question?
excuse me, just 1 second. I do not believe in reducing the current staff. So specifically, what are we talking about in reducing?
With
staff?
Joe's budget and the cut, it does not seem feasible to, the staff's hours would be cut, or there would have to be some
Okay,
layoffs.
so then we're
when-
talking 54 hours is what is this budget, and you would like the hours to go to what, so that the staff hours aren't cut? What are we looking at?
Previous to COVID hours.
So what is that, 66, 70, what number? So you're looking for 70 hours? Okay, so the request then,
Okay, then they could have Sunday.
excuse me, please. Okay. Excuse me, please. So then your request is to, so the current budget is for 54 hours, and your request is that the staffing hours go back to 70. And I think that's all that's in here, correct?
Do you want me to read it again? Just the last bit. I move that there will be no reduction to current staff and that the library's hours will be the same as they were prior to COVID. Current positions will not be filled due to attrition or retirement for this budget year. That is the amendment.
Well, now.
Olivia, I apologize for calling you out and I thank you for standing up.
What I was going to ask is, what do you feel is a reasonable amount that we should increase it from the budget that Joe has set? He came down 14%. Do you think if we went up, say, half of that to 7 or 8%, that would be reasonable? Since we're adding funding. Thank you. Comments are not necessary from the audience. What do you, I'm asking her a question. I'm not telling her what she should think. I'm asking her to clarify for us. Thank you. What do you think is reasonable?
Appropriations being, I mean, what is being changed? Question, what of these numbers?
Would you
she
consider it a
changed
7
to half?
versus a 6? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
1% isn't huge. We're going to reduce it. 15, we're still reducing. Okay. So tell them, see what they can come up with as close to 6%. Is that what you're suggesting? Okay, and then we'll review it after they come up with their figures.
It's irrelevant.
Clarify it next month. Sounds good to me. I was just wanting to you to clarify it for me. Thank you for clarifying my understanding.
Hold on.
Yeah, so you might want to clarify that a little bit for everybody so they all understand where we're coming from.
With the appropriations.
They're having their discussion, so you might have a private discussion.
I can talk to my client anytime I want.
Hey, sit down.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
But, I mean, there's an amendment. I'm not sure that I fully understand it, but there's an amendment that needs to be voted on.
I don't know.
So Olivia, I have a question. So when you arrived at
Excuse me, please, please?
No, this is Joe's numbers.
Because we need to increase the budget number.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is.
I'm just agreeing with you.
No, but what I'm saying is to get a number, we think the total salary for last year. That was the same number. Right now.
Yes, but what she had suggested, if I heard you correctly, Olivia, is to give the percentage, because you said we had a percentage, supposedly we were cutting the original budget by, and she suggested a percentage, and then give it, that percentage to Greg, and let him come back with the total number that percentage would be to our
So to
next
clarify
meeting.
all the side talk, basically, I want a 6% increase or 6% back with this amendment. And I want that to be decided by Cindy and Greg. So I do not have
So,
a number. I want, yes, Greg.
so maybe I can add some clarity. When we put the salary number together, it was about $3.6 million. Right now, it's about 3,040,000. So it's a decrease of $560,000. There's approximately 145 or 150,000, I'd have to add it up, of positions that have not been filled but have been requested in the budget, which leaves about $410,000 or $415,000, which we would have had to cut in current salaries to get down to the 3,040,000. So what I think I'm hearing from Olivia is that $410,000 or $415,000 that was originally cut in Joe's budget should not be cut and should be added back.
Correct.
Now, what this doesn't address is going to 70 hours because to go to 70 hours, what we looked at was adding some of the requested vacancies to be filled. But you've stipulated that you don't want any vacancies filled. And by attrition, should we have people leave the library's employ, that you would not refill those positions, which may cause a condition operationally where we can't staff certain desks or certain services. But I'm just trying to lay out some of the things that we would have to consider as we progress through this.
Operationally, then can you go above 54, but maybe not 70? I just,
What do you think? 66, 70?
Well,
66, because they
here-
are at now.
okay,
66 is where we're at now,
okay.
and we could make some adjustments to have Sunday added and just make some other hour adjustments to include Sunday and maybe deal, as the year progresses, if there's issues with attrition and not having enough staff, we could come back to the board
Okay.
at that time.
With you?
Yep.
So the decision is what's going on with the budget now? So can we bring the salaries back to where they were and that suffices what are requested?
I think so. Okay, well, I mean, it's, we have a legal document that we're voting on, or that the board is going to vote on. And, I just, you can see what's on the desk. I mean, the big miss on the desk is a computer. I don't even have a calculator with me at the moment. So, I know that we have a couple of motions. Not to take your role, Dennis, but my feeling is that you would probably vote on the friendly amendment. And then once that vote has been taken, then the board instructs us to go back to the drawing board, so to speak, and create an alternative look, which would be presented to the board before it's voted on in the form of a legal document.
We can't just change this document we have here
Can we
now.
not right now vote on the budget after the amendment, saying that this amendment will be implemented, and that's what we agree to, and we vote yes, or we vote on this amendment and on the budget?
I guess the difficulty is that there's line items under salaries, and there's a budget amount and there's an appropriation amount. And the question becomes, at least I don't understand which parts of these you want to increase and by how much. Maybe Greg does, which is good. But that's the difficulty that at least I'm having. So
Greg, can you clarify maybe?
Yeah, everything I have is, is on the network. I don't have it in front of me. So, there are, I don't know, 7 or 8 line items under the, under the salaries. And there had been adjustments to virtually all of them, except I think for the top 2 or 3. And so what we would have to do is, go back, consider that against what staffing models show and so forth, and try to come up with an alternative look for you to consider.
So basically, if I understand correctly, sorry, I'll speak into the microphone. If I understand correctly, as far as voting on the budget, we would not at this point have the final figures until you go back and look over your stuff. So therefore, technically, we can only vote on her amendment tonight, and the final figures will be for us in August, and we still have until September 28th when we have to turn in the final figures anyway.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
correct?
I don't know if it's the 28th, but it's like the 4th
It is the
Tuesday or
28th.
something
It
like
is
that.
the 28th. I looked it up.
So, I don't want to put pen to paper on this because I don't, what's not lost on me is what you're voting on gets filed with the county. So if you pass this with, even if we mark it up, if you pass this gets filed with the county and that's what it is. Okay, so I want to make sure it's right as opposed to make sure it's fast.
That's what we pay you for.
So we vote on the amendment?
Ask the lawyer. We vote on the amendment then?
yes,
Okay.
Please restate the amendment for the vote.
I move that there will be no reduction to current staff and that the library's hours will be the same as they were prior to COVID, or 66 as they currently are now. Current positions will not be filled due to attrition or retirement for this budget year.
I have a question. Are we still voting on a budget which is $5,907,000?
No, Joe.
What is the amount of the budget at this?
No. We said he's going to come up with the actual figures for us for our next meeting. We are still going down. We are still not raising the budget up to the level that you're, but we're going up a little bit to accommodate the hours that we're voting to see if it reopen.
it doesn't affect the appropriations. I think it just affects the budget numbers, which is, they can change in time.
I'd like to make a suggestion that we take a brief recess and that Greg could possibly obtain the information from a laptop, and then we can come up with the numbers and pass this budget to accommodate Trustee Hanushek's increase.
Greg, do you think that will be enough time for you to be accurate with your figures?
This is how mistakes are made.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
you know, but.
So you're unable to do that, okay?
No, I'm not unable to do it. I'm able to do it mechanically. What I can't guarantee is that there won't be some silly addition there somewhere along the line. Spreadsheets are, you know, are dumb. We're not intelligent. They're as intelligent and as thorough as the operator is thorough and careful.
So if can we accommodate an increase in the appropriation that would cover us should there be a shortcoming in your worksheet, in your spreadsheet later?
Well, you know, the appropriation, generally speaking, is double
Right.
what the budget is. So would there be headroom in there? Yes, definitely. But I don't think it would, be true to what the friendly amendment is speaking to.
Thank you.
I have a question, Greg. What was the increase in salaries? It looked to me like it was 3% plus between 2021 and 2022.
The increase in salaries, you mean like a raise percentage?
Percentage, was there
Like a raise percentage, Joe?
percentage increase between 21, between the last year's budget and this proposed budget? What was the difference?
It's a decrease.
Pardon?
It's a decrease.
Pardon?
It's a decrease.
No, I mean, percentage and salary increases. Let's say someone was making 60,000, were they then increased? I noticed some people that were making 74 went up to 79. Is that would be like a 5% increase?
So so when I put the salary sheet together, I put in a cost of living raise, which was explained in the budget book that I handed out. That's 1.4%. Is that, I'm not sure I'm answering your question.
I don't think so. Is that because it seemed to me like when I looked through it, very few salaries were increased by that percent. They were increased by considerably more than that.
I'd have to see what you were looking at, Joe. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we're not going to take a recess and we'll give Greg plenty of time to make these adjustments. So the motion on the table is to approve.
Want me to read it again?
It's been a while. You might want to reread it.
Go ahead, please read the amended.
So I'm,
Wait. You're gonna have to recess if you're gonna.
all right, you know what? We need to take a 10-minute recess and then we'll vote on this, all right? Can we take a roll call to take a recess so I can answer everybody's questions about this change? And then we'll vote on it, please.
I move to take a 10-minute recess.
Please take the roll.
Trustee Derblick,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld. Yes. Trustee Hanushek,
no. Carolyn, what do we need?
trustee Makula,
Yes.
trustee Rozansky.
No.
Trustee Olson,
No.
trustee Keen Adams.
No.
1, 2, 3. No recess.
We can just vote on the motion.
Okay, since we're unable to discuss this further and I can't answer any more questions, so what would we like to do?
Vote on the motion.
Okay, please read the motion and we'll take a vote.
I move that there will be no reduction to current staff and that the library's hours will be the same as they were prior to COVID. 66 is current. Current positions will not be filled due to attrition or retirement for this budget year.
I'm assuming you.
Basically, what her motion,
You want the budget appropriations ordinance to be amended to reflect that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is to amend the current 2102 budget and appropriations ordinance to reflect 03, thank you, to reflect an increase in staffing hours to 66 with no, what was that statement about no attrition? If I had it, I could read it.
Positions will not be filled due to attrition or retirement for this budget.
Okay, and if we could give that to Margaret so she can type it later, that she'd appreciate it. Right, I know that's pretty convoluted, but this is the motion. So I don't know, do we have, did we have a move-in and a second?
What would solve the motion is if we increase the salaries by $400,000.
What would solve this problem is if we let Greg go over the figures and tell us actually what they are, and then we can vote on
Well,
it.
that number takes out the vacant positions.
Nothing personal, Joe, but I trust Greg's figures more than I trust yours. Thank you.
Excuse me, Greg, do you have any input on what the number was that was removed? Is it 400,000?
Ish, 400-ish, like 410, 415, 4.
So if we increased it by 500,000, we'd cover her 66 hours?
For the total salaries, but we wouldn't necessarily do it for the subcategories. I have no
Okay,
idea what
I
those
see what you're saying. I
subcategories.
see what you're saying. Okay. All right, unfortunately, we
So
are unable
ba-
to.
basically, if
Let's
we
vote.
added, I think the number's actually 410,000 to the budget that we have. That would satisfy
Joe,
her.
can we please
position.
vote on the amendment before she has to read it another 2 or 3 times?
All right, so,
Not if you have.
do they have a movement in a second? I don't know where we are.
I need a second. Olivia moved and Becky second.
Okay,
This is
so,
an amendment.
yeah, we're voting on the amendment.
Ready? Trustee Gerblick,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
trustee Makula,
Yes,
trustee Hanushek,
Yes.
Yes.
trustee Rozansky, trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Canales.
Yes.
Want to thank the rest of you for working together. Thank you.
Ordinance is amended.
All right. Do I have a motion to
No,
adopt?
There's a motion pending to adopt the ordinance 2103 as amended.
Oh. We didn't just vote
That's,
on it?
you voted on the amendment, and now you gotta vote on the main
Okay.
motion.
I
And
move
The main
to,
motion is passing the budget?
With the main motion.
So the motion's already been made and seconded,
we just voted.
and the amendment only. No. There needs to be a roll call vote on the adoption of ordinance 2103 with the amendment as approved by the board.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Because for one thing, it's a little hard to hear you.
Well, I'm talking to him to get the verbiage. Thank you, though. Okay, so it is a motion.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
I'm-
adopting the ordinance as amended.
Right, okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the amended ordinance 2103, providing for the budget and appropriation of the Niles-Maine District Library, Cook County, Illinois, for the fiscal year July 1st, 2021, and ending June 2022. June 30, thank you, 2022.
So moved.
We need a
I
second.
moved.
Second.
Okay. Please take the roll.
Can I ask one question about this?
Yeah, there's a bit.
Just to make sure I know what I'm voting on.
Oh, sure.
On this, we are not voting for the budget itself. We're just voting that this is going to be per amendment
Right,
is
for
going to
this
be
budget.
added to the budget,
Mhm.
and then we will come up with the figures at a later date.
Right.
Thank you.
Actually, the ordinance will be amended with the figures as the amendment goes, if it passes.
Thank you.
So you're voting on the ordinance as it's been amended.
Thank you.
The numbers will come, but when they come, it's gonna be passed.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you for clarifying that.
sure.
Hmm. Okay. Please take the roll.
Trustee Gerblick,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yeah.
trustee Hanushek,
Yes.
trustee Makula,
Yes,
trustee
Yes.
Rozansky, trustee Olson,
Yeah.
Trustee Keenan Adams.
Yes.
All right, so we're done with that. Okay, next on the agenda is executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body?
So moved.
Second. I second.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
No. Take a roll call vote on that.
Oh, roll call, please.
Trustee Driblik,
Yes.
trustee Hanushek,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld. Yes. Trustee Makula,
Yes.
trustee Wozinski,
Yes.
trustee Olson. Trustee Keenan Adams.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to adjourn open session?
So moved.
7.
No.
Wasn't that what
Don't
we just
adjourn that
voted
yet.
on?
You're gonna come back out, because you may take final action. There's no motion to adjourn yet. We're just gonna go into executive session.
You learned, don't worry.
So we don't close this? Margaret, can you take the roll call?
Trustee. It is.
Oh, he hasn't? Okay, thank you.
Somebody turn off the paper and take your picture.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Trustee Derblick,
Yes.
trustee Hanushek. Here. Trustee Schoenfeld. Here. Trustee Makula,
Here.
trustee Rosansky. Trustee Olson. Here. Trustee Keen Adams.
Present.
You can make it. if you want.
Okay. I move to appoint Cindy Rademacher to the executive director position effective immediately with a salary of $120,000 and customary benefits. Do I have a second?
Second.
Please take the roll.
Trustee Derblick,
Yes.
trustee Hanushek.
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld. Yes. Trustee Makula,
Yes.
trustee Rosansky.
Yes.
Trustee Olson.
Yes.
Trustee Keen Adams.
No.
The next item on the
I would
agenda.
like to say something about Cindy. I would like to congratulate you, Cindy, and welcome aboard. We've made a wonderful choice in you, and I've always heard wonderful things about you. And I really am impressed with your personal skills and how you complete each task completely and are so loving to this library. And I think you're going to be a wonderful asset.
I feel you're a very positive contribution to moving this library forward.
Hey, Carolyn, what were you going to say? You were gonna. Okay. Go on.
Oh, okay. The next item on the agenda is other.
Excuse me, before you go on to the next agenda item, do you have an effective date?
Immediately.
Okay, so as of 7/21?
Well, actually, I would think effective immediately. Could that be today? Is it already today? Okay.
Today's the
Even though it's
21st.
the end.
Executive director right now.
Yeah.
Today's the
Okay.
21st.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to backdate it or anything like that.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate the question. All right, so the next item on the agenda is other. Do we have any comments or any trustee questions? Anything you'd like to offer?
No.
No? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
please take the roll.
Trustee Derblick,
Yes.
trustee Hanushek.
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld.
Yes.
Trustee Makula,
Yes.
trustee Rosansky.
Yes.
Trustee Olson
Yes.
and trustee Keen Adams.
Yes.